I paid $4,500 for a family vacation, and they went without me. I only found out when I ran into my sister at the mall, smiling with a tan I had unknowingly paid for. That single moment changed everything. It changed how I saw my family, it changed how I saw myself, and it set off a chain of events that none of them ever saw coming. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the beginning. The food court at Westfield Galleria smelled like cinnamon pretzels and cheap teriyaki. It was a Thursday afternoon in late September, and I had ducked out between client meetings to grab something quick for lunch. Nothing fancy, just a sad little salad from one of those overpriced kiosks near the fountain. I was scrolling through emails on my phone, barely paying attention to my surroundings, when I spotted her. My younger sister Nicole. She was standing near a sunglasses display, trying on a pair of oversized aviators and laughing at her reflection. We had not talked in a few weeks, which was not unusual. Between my demanding schedule as a financial consultant and her busy life as a mother of two, we often went stretches without catching up, but seeing her there felt like a happy coincidence. I figured I would say hello, maybe grab coffee together if she had time. I walked over, weaving through the lunch crowd. Nicole, she turned, and her face went pale. Actually pale. The kind of color drain you see when someone gets caught doing something they should not be doing. Her smile stretched across her face, but it did not reach her eyes. Oh, hey, what are you doing here? Same as everyone else. Avoiding real food. I held up my sad little salad container and forced a laugh, but something felt off. Nicole was acting strange, nervous. Her hands kept fidgeting with the sunglasses she had been trying on. I pushed past the weirdness and asked the question that had been on my mind for weeks. So when is the family trip happening anyway? I have been meaning to ask Mom about the final dates, but you know how she never answers her phone. Nicole froze. Her expression shifted. The color drained even further from her cheeks. She set down the sunglasses slowly, like she was stalling for time. About that, she paused. You really do not know. My stomach dropped. Know what? Nicole exhaled. Long and slow. She could not meet my eyes. We went last month. The trip already happened. I thought someone told you. The mall noise faded into white static. People walked past us, laughing, shopping, living their normal lives. But I felt like I was underwater, drowning in slow motion. My mouth opened, then closed. Words would not form. Last month, I repeated flatly. You went last month. It was complicated, Nicole said quickly. The words tumbled out of her like she had rehearsed them. There was an issue with the cabin availability. The dates got moved up suddenly. Everyone's schedules were hard to coordinate. I paid $4,500 toward that trip. My voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from someone else. I transferred it to Dad's account back in March, for the rental, the activities, the food, everything we discussed at Easter dinner. Nicole's face crumpled. I know. I am so sorry. Dad was supposed to talk to you about it. He said he would handle it. Handle what exactly? My voice went cold. Handle stealing my money and leaving me behind. It was not like that, Nicole protested, but her eyes still would not meet mine. The money thing, Dad said, he would pay you back. And you have been so busy with work lately. We thought maybe you would not even be able to make it anyway. So you decided for me. My hands were trembling. I shoved them in my pockets to hide it. You all decided I was not important enough to include, but my money was just fine. That is not fair. Fair. The word came out sharp. A woman walking past glanced over nervously. I lowered my voice, but the anger did not fade. You want to talk about fair? Did Brandon go on this trip? Nicole's silence answered everything. Brandon, her husband, the man who complained about my career at every family gathering, who made snide comments about me being single at 34, who called me a workaholic like it was an insult instead of the reason I could afford to contribute $4,500 to a family vacation in the first place. He was there. I said it. Not a question. He is my husband, and I am your sister. I have been your sister for 34 years, Nicole, since before you could walk, since I taught you how to tie your shoes and helped you study for the SATs and threw you a baby shower when everyone said you were too young to start a family. My throat tightened. But somehow Brandon, who has known you for 6 years, gets a spot on the vacation I funded, and I get left behind. Please do not make this harder than it already is, Nicole whispered. Harder for who? For you? I pulled out my phone. My hands were still shaking. I need to go. Wait, please. Can we talk about this? Maybe grab that coffee? I looked at her then. Really looked at her. My little sister, who used to follow me around like a shadow, who cried when I left for college, who told me I was her best friend at her wedding reception. The sister who apparently thought so little of me that she would take my money and go on vacation without a single word. No, I said. Simply, I do not think we can. I walked away before she could respond. Tell me where you are watching from. I am here in Denver. Drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story is reaching. I sat in my car for a long time, staring at my phone screen, rage building in my chest like a pressure cooker about to blow. The parking lot around me felt surreal. An elderly couple walked past holding grocery bags. A teenager backed out of a space too quickly and nearly hit another car. The world kept spinning while mine had just tilted sideways. I pulled up my banking app with trembling fingers. And there it was. March 15th. $4,500 transferred to Robert Hayes, my father's account. The memo line read Family Vacation Fund. Cannot wait. I had added a little heart emoji because I had been genuinely excited. Looking at that stupid heart now made my stomach turn. How long had they known? That question kept circling my brain like a vulture. The trip happened last month, which meant they had been planning this exclusion for weeks, maybe longer. Every family text message, every casual phone call, every moment someone could have told me the truth but chose not to. All of it had been a lie. I opened the family group chat and scrolled back through the messages. 6 weeks ago, Mom had written, "Cannot wait for our family time together." I had responded with excitement. 3 weeks ago, Dad mentioned something about our upcoming adventure. I had replied asking if we needed to coordinate anything. He had said, "All taken care of, sweetheart." He was not wrong. They had taken care of excluding me while keeping my money. The first call went to my mother. She answered on the third ring. Her voice bright and cheerful like nothing was wrong. "Sweetheart, how are you?" "I just ran into Nicole at the mall," I said, my voice eerily calm. "She told me you all went on the family trip last month, the one I contributed $4,500 to." Silence. It stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. "Honey," Mom finally said. Her tone shifted to that careful, placating voice she always used when she knew she had messed up. "We were going to tell you. Your father was supposed to call you about the date change. The date change that coincidentally happened without me. You are always so busy with work. We thought." "Stop." I closed my eyes and pressed my palm against my forehead. "Please stop lying to me. If you did not want me there, you could have just said so. Instead, you took my money and lied about it for weeks." "We did not lie," Mom protested. The timing got complicated. Was there even a date change? Or was this the plan all along?" Another pause. That told me everything I needed to know. "I want my money back," I said. "All of it. By the end of the week." "Well, that might be difficult. The money has already been spent on." "I do not care what it was spent on. You took $4,500 from me under false pretenses. That is theft, Mom. I am giving you until Friday to return it, or I am taking legal action." "You would not do that," she said, but her voice wavered. "We are family. Family does not steal from each other." "Friday, Mom." I hung up before she could respond. My heart pounded so hard I felt dizzy. 3 deep breaths. 4. 5. The next call went to my father. Voicemail. Of course. "Dad, it is me. I know about the trip. I know you all went without me, after taking my money. I want it back by Friday, or I am getting lawyers involved. Your choice." My finger hovered over the next contact. Nicole again. No, I had said what I needed to say to her, but there was someone else who needed to hear from me. Brandon answered on the first ring, his voice smug as always. "Well, well, heard you ran into Nicole today." "You knew," I said. "You knew the whole time." "Knew what?" "That your family finally got tired of working around your ridiculous schedule. That they decided to actually have fun without waiting for you to pencil them in between meetings." He laughed, and the sound made my blood boil. "Come on, you had to know this was coming eventually. I paid for that vacation, and they used your money well. The cabin was beautiful. Your parents say thanks, by the way." Something inside me snapped. Not in a dramatic, explosive way. More like a cord that had been fraying for years finally giving way. "Quiet." Decisive. Final. I am going to make you regret this, I said softly. Brandon laughed again, harder this time. What are you going to do? Sue your own family. Good luck with that. You will just look like a greedy, bitter woman who cannot handle being left out of one trip. We will see, I said, and I hung up. My hands had stopped shaking. The rage was still there, burning hot in my chest, but it had transformed into something different, something cold and focused. I had spent my entire adult life building a career in financial consulting. I knew exactly how to handle money disputes. I knew exactly who to call. Maxwell Chen answered his office line on the second ring. Max had been my attorney for years, handling everything from contract negotiations to that nightmare situation with my previous landlord. He was sharp, ruthless when necessary, and he owed me a favor. Tell me you are calling with good news, he said by way of greeting. I need your help with something, I said. Family matter, financial theft, and I need it handled quickly and thoroughly. I am listening. I explained everything. The vacation planning, the money transfer, the secret trip, the confrontation at the mall. Max listened without interrupting. I could practically hear him taking notes. Do you have documentation of the transfer? He asked finally. Bank statements, text messages about the trip planning, emails, everything. And they are refusing to return the funds. That is not how this works, Max said, and I could hear the smile in his voice, the predatory one he got when he saw a case he could win. They accepted money for a specific purpose, failed to fulfill that purpose, and are now refusing to return the funds. That is textbook fraud. How fast can you move on this? I can have a demand letter drafted and sent by tomorrow morning. If they do not respond appropriately, we file a civil suit. Given the dollar amount, we could also potentially involve law enforcement. I want the letter sent tomorrow, I said. Give them 3 business days to respond. If they do not pay back every cent with interest, we file immediately. You are sure about this? Once we start down this road, there is no going back. Your family is going to be furious. They should have thought about that before they stole from me and lied about it. All right, Max said. I will get started. Send me all the documentation you have. That evening, I forwarded everything to Max. Bank statements showing the $4,500 transfer in March. Text messages from the family group chat discussing the vacation plans. Emails from Dad confirming receipt of my payment and promising to handle all the arrangements. Screenshots of conversations where we discussed activities and meal planning. Everything painted a clear picture. A family vacation planned together, paid for, in part by me, then executed without me while they kept my money. Max emailed back within the hour. This is even better than I thought. Their own messages establish intent and agreement. If they fight this, they will lose badly. Letter goes out at 9 tomorrow morning. The demand letter arrived at my parents' house via certified mail the next morning. I know because I got the delivery notification. Max had copied me on the letter itself, and it was a thing of beauty, professional, cold, absolutely damning. It laid out the facts clearly. Money transferred for a specific purpose, purpose not fulfilled, beneficiary failed to return funds, legal action to follow if payment not received within 3 business days. No emotional language, no accusations, just clean legal prose that made it crystal clear they had messed up. My phone exploded. 15 missed calls before noon, text messages ranging from pleading to angry to bewildered. A voicemail from Dad that started with, "What do you think you are doing?" and ended with, "Call me immediately." Nothing from Brandon, which was interesting. Nicole sent a novel-length text about how hurt she was that I would involve lawyers, how she never thought I would put money before family, how disappointed she was in me. I sent one reply to the family group chat. You had multiple opportunities to do the right thing. You chose not to. This is the consequence of that choice. Then I muted the conversation. If you are still here, tap that like button. It pushes this story to more people, and honestly, it helps more than you know. Now let me tell you what happened next, because this is where things got interesting. Work became my sanctuary. I threw myself into a new client proposal, reviewed financial projections until my eyes crossed, stayed late at the office 3 nights in a row. My colleague Danielle noticed. She cornered me by the coffee maker on Thursday morning. Okay, what is going on? You have got that look. What look? The "I am about to destroy someone, and I have the receipts to prove it" look. I have seen it before. Despite everything, I smiled. Family drama. Do not want to bore you with it. Family drama that requires your legal murder face. Now I am intrigued. I gave her the abbreviated version. Danielle's eyes got wider with each detail. By the end, she was shaking her head in disbelief. They took $4,500 from you and went without you. Are they insane? Apparently, they thought I would just let it go. Do they not know you at all? Danielle laughed. I have watched you spend 6 hours tracking down a $3 accounting error because the principle of it bothered you. Did they really think you would shrug off this? Seems that way. Well, I hope you crush them, Danielle said cheerfully. Family or not, that is messed up. Friday morning arrived. The deadline. I had heard nothing from my family except increasingly desperate messages that I had continued to ignore. At 8:30 Max called. They have not contacted my office, he said. Want me to file? I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. About Nicole's fake smile at the mall, about Mom's placating lies, about Brandon's mocking voice, about Dad's silence through all of it. File it, I said. Done. You will have the case number by this afternoon. Fair warning. Things are about to get very uncomfortable. They already are. Might as well make them count. The lawsuit hit the county record system by noon. Civil case demanding return of $4,500 plus interest, court costs, and attorney fees. Max had filed it against all three of them, Mom, Dad, and Nicole. Any or all of them could be on the hook for the full amount plus damages. My phone rang off the hook for the rest of the day. I ignored all of it. That evening, I got a text from an unknown number. It took me a minute to realize it was from my niece, Emma, Nicole's 12-year-old daughter. She was old enough to have her own phone now, and apparently old enough to be recruited as a messenger. Aunt Lauren, please drop this. Grandma is really upset. Mom, too. It is just money. I stared at the message for a long time. They had gotten a child involved. They were actually using a kid to guilt-trip me into backing down. I did not reply, but what they did not know was that I had one more card to play, and this one was going to hurt. The following Monday, Max called with an update. They have retained counsel, he said. Local attorney. Does a lot of family law. He is already reaching out about settlement. What are they offering? Full repayment of the principal. No interest. No costs. They want you to sign an agreement releasing any future claims. Absolutely not, I said immediately. They pay everything, including your fees and court costs. And I want a written apology from each of them acknowledging what they did was wrong. The apology thing is not standard. I do not care. That is my condition. They can accept it or face me in court. You are really not messing around with this. If your family did this to you, would you? Fair point, Max said. I will communicate your terms. The counter offers started rolling in. They pay interest but no attorney fees. Rejected. They pay everything but want me to sign confidentiality. Rejected. They do everything but claim the written apology is unnecessarily humiliating. Rejected. My terms were my terms. Take it or leave it. During this period, I discovered something interesting about standing your ground. People reveal themselves in ways they never intended. My Aunt Patricia called me one evening. My mother's sister, her voice saccharine sweet, as she tried a different approach than guilt. Honey, I understand you are hurt, she began, but your mother is beside herself. She is not sleeping, barely eating. Is the money really worth destroying her health? Is the money worth stealing? I countered. Because that is what they did. They stole from me. That is such an ugly word, Patricia said, her tone shifting. They made a mistake in judgment. People make mistakes. Mistakes are accidental. This was deliberate. They planned a trip, took my money for it, went without me, and lied about it for weeks. That is not a mistake. It is a choice. You always were so rigid, she said, the sweetness completely gone now. So unable to forgive. Good, I said. I hope she warned you correctly, because I am not backing down. Patricia hung up on me. I added her name to my mental list of people who apparently thought I should just accept being stolen from because family. We were 3 weeks into the legal battle when something interesting happened. Danielle came into my office one afternoon with a strange expression. So I have weird news, she said. You know my boyfriend Greg, the accountant? The one who makes good pancakes. That is the one. Anyway, he was telling me about a new client his firm just took on, small business consulting company, having serious cash flow problems. She paused. The owner's name is Brandon Sutton. My head snapped up. Same industry, same area. So I did some research, and yep, same guy, your brother-in-law. According to Greg, his business is in serious trouble, has not paid himself a salary in 4 months, maybe 3 months, from going under completely. I sat back in my chair processing this. Brandon, who had mocked me on the phone, who had laughed about using my money, who acted so superior at every family gathering. His business was failing. How bad are we talking? Danielle lowered her voice. Bad. Major client fell through. Revenue tanked. He is trying to restructure debt, but it is not looking good. I smiled slowly. You are thinking something evil, Danielle said. I can see it. I am thinking that Brandon's struggling consulting business might benefit from being known in our professional circles. You are going to help him. Oh no, I said. I am going to make sure every potential client he approaches knows exactly what kind of person they would be working with, that he is the type of man who thinks stealing from family is funny, that he is financially desperate, that he is exactly the kind of person you do not want having access to your business finances. That is diabolical. That is strategic, I corrected. I am not going to lie about him. I am just going to make sure the truth is very well known. I started that evening. A casual mention to a client over dinner about my ongoing family legal situation, making sure to name Brandon and his company. A comment during a networking event about the importance of integrity in consulting, followed by a personal story. A friendly warning to a business owner friend who was looking for financial consulting services. Nothing actionable, nothing defamatory, just facts, shared conversationally, spreading like ripples across my professional network. Max called 2 days later, sounding amused. So their attorney just contacted me in a panic. Apparently, Brandon's business is losing potential clients at an alarming rate, and he is convinced you are behind it. How would I be behind his business failures? I am not responsible for his reputation or his management skills. That is essentially what I told their lawyer. But here is the interesting part. They want to settle all your terms, full payment, attorney fees, court costs, and a written apology from each of them. My heart rate picked up. What changed? Brandon is panicking. He thinks you are going to destroy his business. And honestly, from what their attorney said, it sounds like you are doing exactly that. They want this over before you do more damage. I want to see the apologies before I agree to anything, I said, and they need to be genuine, not some template their lawyer wrote. The apologies arrived via email 3 days later, 3 separate letters, one from each of them. Dad's was short and gruff. I am sorry for not communicating with you about the trip date change and for not returning your money immediately when you asked. This got out of hand, and I should have handled it better. Mom's was longer, full of explanations about how they thought I would not mind, how they got caught up in planning, how they never meant to hurt me. It felt more like justification than apology, but it did include the actual words "I am sorry," and an acknowledgement that taking my money without delivering what was promised was wrong. Nicole's made me pause. It was 2 pages long, handwritten and scanned. The writing was messy, like she had been crying while writing it. She apologized for lying to me at the mall, for not standing up for me, for letting Brandon influence her decisions about family, for taking me for granted. I do not expect you to forgive me, she wrote at the end. I know I destroyed something that might never be fixed. But I am sorry, truly deeply sorry. You deserved so much better from all of us, but especially from me. I read that letter 3 times. Part of me was still furious. Part of me was exhausted, and a small part of me buried under all the anger was sad. Sad for what we had, and what we had lost. But I was not ready to forgive. Maybe I never would be. The apologies are acceptable. I told Max. Draw up the settlement agreement. The money arrived in my account on a Tuesday morning. $4,500 principal, $147 in interest, $6,800 in attorney fees and court costs. Watching that deposit hit my account felt surreal. I had won. Officially, legally, completely won. But it did not feel the way I had expected. Max called to confirm I had received everything. So that is done. You planning to have any contact with them going forward? I honestly do not know, I admitted. Part of me wants to cut them off completely, but they are still my family, and that is complicated. It always is, he said. For what it is worth, I think you handled this exactly right. They needed to face real consequences, and you made sure they did, whether you eventually reconcile or not. At least you stood up for yourself. Quick pause. If this story has hit you anywhere in the heart, go ahead and subscribe. I share stories like this every week. Stories about standing up for yourself, about justice, about what happens when you stop accepting less than you deserve. Now let me tell you how this all ended. Brandon's business folded 2 months after the settlement. According to Danielle's boyfriend, it was not just because of the reputation damage, though that had not helped. The financial problems had been building for a while. Losing those potential clients just accelerated the inevitable. Brandon took a job at a larger firm, working for someone else instead of running his own company. I felt neither happy nor sad about it. It was just information. 3 months after everything concluded, I got a card in the mail. Inside was a child's drawing, two stick figures holding hands, with the words, "I miss you." Aunt Lauren, written in crayon at the top. Emma had drawn it. On the back in Nicole's handwriting, "No pressure. Just wanted you to know you are thought of." I put the drawing on my fridge. 6 months later, Emma's birthday invitation arrived. A kid-friendly party at a local bounce house place. The invitation was addressed just to me. No plus one, no assumptions. A note was included. Would love to have you there, but no hard feelings if you are not ready. Nicole. I thought about it for a long time. Then I sent back my reply. Yes. The party was awkward. Mom cried when she saw me, trying to hug me while I stood stiff and uncomfortable. Dad shook my hand formally, like I was a business acquaintance, instead of his daughter. Brandon stayed on the other side of the party the entire time, which was fine with me. But Emma lit up when she saw me, running over for a hug that felt genuine and uncomplicated in the way only a child's affection can be. Nicole and I barely spoke, but at one point, while the kids were destroying cake, she came over to where I stood by the punch bowl. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "It means a lot to Emma, but to me too." "She is a good kid," I said. "This is not her fault. She should not be punished because the adults in her life messed up." "Fair," Nicole acknowledged. She hesitated, then added, "I really am in therapy. It is helping. I am learning a lot about boundaries, about people pleasing, about letting other people's opinions influence me too much. It is hard work, but I am trying." "Good," I said simply. "I hope it helps." We stood in silence for a moment, watching the kids play. It was not comfortable, but it was not hostile either. It was just neutral, a starting point, maybe for something different than what we had before. I did not stay long after cake was served. I said goodbye to Emma, nodded to my parents, and left without much ceremony. But as I drove home, I realized something had shifted. The rage that had fueled me through the legal battle, that had burned hot and focused for months, it had finally cooled to something manageable. I had stood up for myself. I had drawn a line and enforced it. I had demanded accountability and gotten it. Whether my family and I would ever return to something resembling normal, I did not know. Maybe we would, in some new configuration that acknowledged what happened and respected the boundaries I had established. Maybe we would not, and I would have to grieve that loss and move forward anyway. But either way, I had learned something valuable. My worth was not negotiable. My dignity was not up for debate. And the people in my life, family or otherwise, needed to treat me with the respect I deserved, or they would not have a place in my life at all. A year after that mall encounter, I received a text from Nicole on a random Tuesday afternoon. No special occasion, no birthday or holiday. "Remember how we used to get coffee at that place on Main Street before I would drive you to your college classes? I was thinking about that today. Those were good times." I looked at that message for a while before responding. They were. The vanilla lattes were terrible, but the company was good. They really were terrible. She agreed. "I am free Saturday morning if you want to grab coffee somewhere with better lattes. No pressure." I thought about it. Saturday works. 10 in the morning. It is a date, and I am buying. "You are definitely buying," I confirmed. Saturday morning arrived gray and drizzly. I almost canceled 3 times, my thumb hovering over my phone, anxiety churning in my stomach. But I had said I would go, and I kept my word. Nicole was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 lattes, looking genuinely nervous. She stood when she saw me, seemed unsure whether to hug me or not, and ended up doing an awkward half-wave instead. "Hi," she said. "I got you a vanilla latte, but I can get something else if you want." "This is fine," I said, sitting down across from her. We talked for 2 hours. Not about the lawsuit or the betrayal. Not at first. We talked about work, her kids, the book she was reading, my recent disastrous attempt at growing tomatoes on my apartment balcony. Small talk. Safe talk. The kind of conversation you have when you are testing the waters to see if there is anything left worth saving. Near the end, Nicole finally said what we had both been avoiding. I know I already apologized in writing, but I need to say it to your face. She set down her coffee cup. What we did to you was unforgivable. I have been working through it in therapy, trying to understand why I let it happen, why I did not stand up for you. There is no excuse that makes it okay. I just wanted you to hear me say that, out loud, looking at you. Okay? I said, because what else was there to say? I do not expect things to go back to how they were, Nicole continued. I know that is probably impossible, but I hope maybe we can figure out something new, something better, built on honesty this time. Maybe, I said carefully, but it is going to take time, Nicole. A lot of time. Trust is not something you rebuild overnight. I know. I am willing to put in that time. If you are, I looked at my little sister. She had changed. I could see it. Something in her eyes was different. More aware, more accountable. We sat there for a moment, two sisters who had been through something terrible, trying to find their way back to each other. It would not be easy. It would not be quick. There would be setbacks and awkward conversations and moments when I wondered if it was even worth trying. But sitting there that morning, with bad lattes and uncertain futures, I realized something important. I had won more than just money. I had won my self-respect, my boundaries, my peace of mind. And maybe, just maybe, I had also won a second chance at having a sister. Not the sister I had before. That relationship was gone. But something new. Something built on truth and accountability, and the understanding that family love means nothing without family respect. If you are still watching this far, thank you. Hit subscribe if you want more stories like this. Drop a comment telling me your favorite part, and like this video if it made you feel something. Until next time.